If AI takes all the jobs, who's buying anything? Every prediction about AI and work skips this. They treat the economy like a machine for making things. Automate the labor, cut the costs, make more stuff. But production is only half the loop. The other half is someone with the money to buy the things you made. And here's the thing, you can't sell to people who have no money. So a worker isn't just someone a company pays. They're someone who spends that pay. Pull them out and you lose two things at once. The worker and the customer. We already ran that experiment once. The machines worked immediately. The customers though took 60 years to show up. But let's be fair to the fear first. Because right now it's the strongest it's ever been. Goldman Sachs says 300 jobs could be automated. The IMF says 40% of all the jobs are at risk. In rich countries, it's 60%. And Dario Amodei, who runs Anthropic, half of the entry-level jobs in offices could be done within 5 years. They all point in the same direction. Down. And the smartest version of that fear isn't dumb. Every machine before this came for our muscles. The plow, the engine, the assembly line. So we moved to the work that needed a brain. And this one comes for the brain. So when people who think for a living meet a machine that thinks, where do we go next? It's a fair question. It deserves a real answer, not a shrug, and not a, it always works out. I'll give the fear its due. The machine probably can do a lot of tasks. That part might be right. But here's the catch. Even if they are dead right about what AI can do, they can still be wrong about what happens next. Because everyone is so busy asking whether AI can replace a worker that nobody finishes the thought. A worker is two things at once. Someone a company pays and someone who turns around and spends the money he earned buying those products. The last time we automated an entire economy, the second half left a hole so big economists gave it a name. So let's follow the second half, the spending. An economy is a loop. Companies pay workers. Workers spend that pay buying what companies make. That spending becomes the next company's revenue, which pays the next worker. Round and round, every wage a company pays out walks back through the front door as someone spending money. Now pull the worker and drop in a machine. The first company to do it wins. Lower cost, cheaper goods, and bigger margins. So does the second one. And the third. Every one of them, acting completely rationally, cuts the same wages. But those wages where somebody's spending money, strip them out across the whole economy, and your savings show up as missing customers for your goods. Here's a trap. Each company keeps all the savings from automating, but the lost demand gets spread across everyone. So no single company feels the full damage of its own move, which means none of them will stop. This isn't a fringe idea anymore. In 2026, economists from Wharton and Boston University built a formal model of exactly this loop. Their phrase for where this ends is bleak. Firms automating their way to enormous output, with almost no one left to sell to. And that's the contradiction at the center of the whole thing. AI can make production nearly free. What it can't do is turn people with no income into customers. A factory that makes everything and is selling nothing isn't the future. It's a very expensive warehouse. So if the trap is this obvious, here's the fair question. Why hasn't this broken the economy yet? I want you to hold that question because it already happened once. We have the receipts. The Industrial Revolution is the story everyone reaches for to calm you down. Machines came, jobs changed, and in the end, everyone got richer. That ending is true. But the middle is the part they are leaving out. And the middle lasted 60 years. Between 1780 and 1840, output per worker in England rose 46%. Wages rose 12%. Profits doubled while the people running the machines stayed broke. Economists have a name for that gap. It calls the Engels pause. For 2 generations, the productivity was real and prosperity was nowhere. The machines could make more than ever before, and the workers couldn't afford to buy it. So what fixed it? Not the technology. The technology was already there. What changed is that workers slowly turned into customers. Rising wages, shorter hours, weekends, and the right to organize. The mass prosperity everyone remembers came from ordinary people finally earning enough to buy what they want. So the factory needed actually customers. That's the lesson hiding inside the happy ending. A productivity revolution can be a roaring success and a social disaster at the same time for decades. And the thing that closes the gap is always the same: putting income back in the hands of the people who are supposed to spend it. So back to the question, if the demand trap is real, why hasn't the true economy cracked already? Simple, the whole trap depends on one thing: AI actually replacing workers at scale. And that hasn't happened yet. Start with the doom case. The mass firing has begun. It hasn't, not cleanly. Challenger, the firm that tracks why companies cut jobs, found AI named on only 5% of 2025's layoffs. Only 5th on the list, behind boring stuff like restructuring. That number's climbing in 2026, but watch why companies say it. We are restructuring for AI, sells better to shareholders than we hired too many people when money was free during the ZIRP era, the zero interest rates in the last couple of years. And there's even a name for that move now. It's called AI washing. Deutsche Bank flagged it. I mean, even Sam Altman, the architect of fear, admitted companies are blaming AI for cuts they'd have to make anyway. Now the other side, the demand collapse. Also not there yet. In the one job AI is best at, writing code, employment is expected to grow 15% this decade. When the work gets cheaper, companies don't always buy less of it. Sometimes they buy far more, because suddenly they can afford to build things that were never worth building before. So the loop hasn't broken, because the thing that would break it hasn't happened. The robots are still hiring around the edges. The customers are still spending. But that's not the same as safe. It just means we are standing early in the experiment, not past it. And that's the whole point, because the fight we are all having aimed at the wrong half of it. Everyone arguing about AI. Can AI do your job? Can it write? Can it code? Can it think? And the answer is creeping towards yes, task by task. But that was never the question that decides how this goes. Machines doing the work is only half the economy. The other half is whether everyone still has income to buy what the work produces. The Industrial Revolution solved that by accident, over 60 brutal years, by slowly turning workers into customers. We don't have a plan for solving it on purpose. We've got a technology sprinting ahead on the production side, and that silence on the demand side. Nobody building these systems is paid to think about who's buying. So the next time someone tells you AI is all about replacing half the workforce, don't just ask whether AI can do the job. Ask the harder one. If those wages disappear, where does the demand come from? Because until somebody answers that, every prediction about AI and jobs is only telling one half of the story, which is the easy half. The half about making things. The hard path is the one nobody is selling. Who's left to buy them?